Right then, lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. We're back again. Good evening, Arsenal. This is the show. Finally, we got a name for our show. It's gonna be in the evening at 8. Good evening, Arsenal. Evening, Arsenal. Actually, evening, Arsenal. Look, I thought so. I thought it was a good name to name our show. And what we'll be doing is basically having we shall be having a morning Arsenal show and an evening Arsenal show. As simple as that. But we're gonna pick a couple of things in this one, especially Arsenal beating Brentford 4-0. Now that was a very interesting game. To play for preseason, it was a good game for preseason. Definitely a very good game for preseason. We will speak about that. We will dive into that a little bit. Arsenal are linked with Serge Aurier, and I wanted to get your live reactions and thoughts on this, on this transfer. Serge Aurier for a free transfer. I'd love to get your thoughts, and we'll try to dive into that a little bit deeper as well. Will you take back Wilshere? I discussed this earlier in the day, but still, I would love to get your thoughts on the situation. Would you take back Wilshere, especially now that it seems like El Neni is picking up an injury? Thomas Partey is back, but we cannot rely on him. And obviously, in that game, as we look into Arsenal for Brentford nil, we will talk about the players that did come back, and of course, Gabriel Magalhaes getting on the score sheet is Gabriel Magalhaes. Cedric Soares also got on the score sheet, and a couple of other talking points in the game. And of course, I'll give you an injury update around the club. Of course, do smash a like on the video, to subscribe to the channel. Thanks everybody for joining me this evening. It's very interesting to have you on the channel once again after all the transfer rumors and saga. So let's try to get into it as fast as possible. Let us start with Brentford game. I'm so sorry I didn't do a reaction yesterday. Obviously it was only a friendly, but should have let you know, and I'm very sorry. So Arsenal yesterday had a game and we beat Brentford by 4-0. The players that got onto the score sheet, the names by now, which by now you should know. Gabriel Magalhaes scored for us. Obviously, he's just coming back, from injury. It's a big one. It's a very. If you ask me, one of those people, one of the players that I think have been missed at Arsenal in the first 3 games is Gabriel Magalhaes. Not because of his leadership, because I think he might not have it, but I think the individual brilliance and performance of the player is what we missed so much. So Gabriel is back. Happy to see you, bro. Happy to see you back. Ben White also came back. He didn't score though. Alexander Lacazette scored the other goal. And of course, the rest of the 2 goals were scored by Cedric Soares. Mikel Arteta had a couple of points to make on the win. And he had to say, you know what is important always is I think the positivity, because he's a very positive. He's very positive as a manager. So he was speaking about the club and the win, and it showed me that kind of positive sense. Maybe Arsenal need to be positive. Maybe we need to be a little bit positive, more positive than we actually are as Arsenal fans. So let's try to dive into it. Right, this is Mikel Arteta and his press conference. Of course, he spoke about so many things, because this was the first time he was, really speaking to the media well after our transfers and recruiting of the summer. But also, it was the first time that Mikel gets to speak, to the media without transfers going on. So it was a valuable run out for our players on Thursday as we beat Brentford 4-0 in a behind closed doors friendly at London Colney. And I'm just asking myself, I'm just wishing myself, I wish we beat them. I wish we beat Brentford, in the Premier League, because we opened the league with them and we absolutely had a stinker. I just wish we beat them in the Premier League. I just wish this result was just a cut and copy in the Premier League. It would have been absolutely beautiful. We spoke to Mikel Arteta after the match to discuss the performance, the fitness of his squad, and his transfer window thoughts. This is what he had to tell the Arsenal media. Right. Number one, on how valuable the game, a game it was. He said, yes, we had the possibility to play Brentford again, and we had quite a lot of players who needed some minutes. Some of them coming back from injuries, some of them after COVID-19. So it was a good test and good work out. Yeah, definitely. Obviously, we're playing Norwich next. In the coming, it should be the coming weekend, not this one, but the coming one. English is so funny. Next and coming suddenly means something different. Just like just like soon and very close. I mean, they mean they mean coming up and soon. They mean very very different things. So I think he's right, because many of these men, especially the likes of Gabriel, who have not started the season, the likes of Ben White, who had a very poor season, start with the season, sorry. Then the likes of Cedric, who have also had a very poor start this season. They needed this. We needed this game as much as you could never imagine. And getting that 4-0 victory, I don't know if it's gonna push us back, because the last 6-0 defeat or win we had against West Brom, we were thumped 5 by Manchester City. But I think at the end of the day, it makes some sense for me. It really does make some sense, some sense for me. To be honest, on Ben White and Gabriel Magalhaes featuring, he said, yeah, really good. We don't have any big injuries as well. They have the minutes. We could work on some things. So it was a good idea to play the game. Definitely a very good idea. And I think the biggest idea there was playing both of them at centre back and trying to see how could they, how do they match up? How do they work together? Because for me, it's still at the end of the day very important that we get to understand who are our best centre backs and who are our best players. Tomorrow, I'll be providing you with a video of how I think Arsenal should be lining up. What is Arsenal's best 11? Expect that tomorrow in the afternoon. And I think Gabriel and Ben White, whether they want or they do not want, they're gonna play together. It's more like an ascribed status now. I don't know whether Tomiyasu is gonna be an integral part of Arsenal's backline, either playing in a back 3 or he's gonna play a tried back in a back 4. We'll get to see what happens with him in the season. But I think with Gabriel and Gabriel and Ben White, it's good to always test them, because I think they should be our partnership. We've seen how sloppy Pablo Mari is. Look, oh my God, I don't know how Gabriel became so sloppy, and I could never have imagined Gabriel that bad. I could never have imagined them. I thought he was a decent centre back. You know my thoughts on on Pablo Mari. Sorry, you know my thoughts on Pablo Mari. I've always thought he is a decent centre back, but he's not. Maybe he's not. He's just not that decent like I thought. But regardless, we move on. I mean, regardless of what's happened, we do move on. But of course, it was a very good thing that they got minutes. Gabriel Magalhaes and Ben White on working with players in the international break. Mikel said, again because of them. Because some of them are coming back from injuries, some of them that had COVID could not travel with the national team, so we worked with them. I think it works in our favor, definitely. I mean, Gabriel needs to stay. Ben White also needs to stay. We need to work out a solution in this international break. It's so boring. It's one of the most boring periods of football because you don't have football going on. You have football, going on because you have, our national teams going on. How could I say that? That was so ridiculous. But one of the things you think about with international breaks is you don't have club football going on, and you do not have like transfer rumors flying around. So it's basically pale. So I think, but for me, it's a very big opportunity that we work with our players in the international break to find something. That's it. Work with your players to find something. At least find a philosophy in these days, in these 14 days, or find a good starting lineup, or find something, because we are at zero at the moment, and you can see 0 goals, 0 points. Everything is a zero, and we are 20th on. We are bottom. We are rock bottom on the table, and that must speak volumes, absolutely volumes. So Arsenal have got to correct that as soon as possible. Then the other on the state of the squad going into the Norwich game, he said, well, let's see, because things change every day, so hopefully we will get there. We'll get 3 or 4 back that we miss a lot in the last weeks, and hopefully we don't lose anyone in the internationals. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but I mean, it would be very, very big boost if Arsenal don't lose any players in the international break. But of course, he says we have around 3 to 4 players coming back, and those 4 players are, of course, I've already mentioned earlier in the day. Gabriel is coming back. Ben White is coming back. Thomas Partey is also coming back. It's a massive, massive, massive boost. Right. On our transfer window strategy, he said it was really complicated. It was a really complicated market. We had a lot of things to do. I think we had 16 or 17 transactions in total, which was a lot. The club has made a big effort. We had support from the owners to try to do it, and we had to recruit in terms that we could, and I'm very, very pleased. Right. So this is what Mikel says, that one, it was a very complicated market. I do agree with that. There were a lot of things to do. 16 or 17 transactions in total. Around 6 players coming in, joining the main senior team, and around 8 or more players leaving our senior squad. So it was a busy summer. But he says the club has made a big effort. We had support from the owners to try and do it. Now, this is where I hate Mikel, and this is why at times I just want him out. When we were losing games, he said, well, we played the youngest squad out there. We played the youngest squad out there. And in the sense that you do not have players, in the sense that you've lost some of your players to injury, and you're using a backup team, right? So on deadline day, you had a chance to get in a midfielder. You didn't. You brought in a right back that no one expected, and now because you've beaten Brentford 4-0, you say you've been backed. It's going well. The owners have supported you. If we lose another game and he comes up with excuses and I blast him, I don't want anybody to say because you're so toxic, because definitely I think he's lying. On signing young players with experience, what does he mean with experience? Young players with experience, he says, yes, different experiences. Some had experience in the league, so some are abroad, and some have been coached in other ways. But they are players who we have followed for a long time. That we knew could fit into the model we are trying to implement at the club, so we are pleased. Okay. Well, first and foremost, I don't get the experience. What kind of experience they're talking about. I think the likes of Lokonga, the likes of Nuno, they have played elsewhere. They played football elsewhere. But at the end of the day, these are players that are still very, very average and young. And I'm even afraid to judge them because they're young, right? And saying they fit into the model of what they're trying to do. I've already told you about the model. Looks like Arsenal want to go back to the days where they recruit players for substantially less fees, and probably could sell them at a very high price. Because if you heard of it, they all talk about things like resale values. They all talk about things like future sell and things like that. So it looks like that is where we are going. And if that is the model, then Mikel got it right. On how we will integrate the new signings, he said again it is 16 to 17 changes to the squad. It is a lot. You have to blend them all together. Some of them haven't even trained with us because they have still to come in the next week or so. As quick as possible. We have a group. We have a good group. They will help them to adapt as quick as possible and get them to work with us and see when we can integrate all together. On signing Tomiyasu, he said, again, we followed him for a while. We needed a fullback who could be very versatile, can play as a centre back, can play as in a back three. Tommy has this capacity. He's 22 years old, but has some really good experience in the Serie A and at international level with the qualities we are looking for. On being able to concentrate on the games now, he said, there has been a lot going on. Obviously, we had big things to do, a big transfer window, and compliments to the boys because I think the team has done really, really well to try to satisfy what we could do. Definitely, that is the big man, Mikel Arteta, speaking about what we did in the transfer window, the Brentford game, and things like that. Look, I'm gonna say this. It was a big win for Arsenal, and as you know, always you want your club to win games, whether it is friendly. I don't want Arsenal to lose a game. Like I wouldn't see it and feel like Arsenal should lose this game so that the Cronkies learn lesson, or so that we can get better, things like that. I think we need to win games. That's it. And Mikel puts it very clear in his press conference. We need to win games. We've beaten Brentford, but it's a game that, for me, the result in itself means nothing. Maybe the time, the 90 minutes, means something because Gabriel is back and Ben White. That is one of the things I did. I look at it. But the rest, Arsenal 4, Brentford 0, that is just on paper. When we get back to the Premier League, you're going to see the massive difference between these games. I mean, it's Norwich. It's just Norwich, but they will be dangerous. They will be deadly because they know they need to start picking up points. They're 19th, and they want to survive relegation. They need to start picking up points, and I think they will start with Arsenal. They might not get the points. We might beat them 2-0, 2-1, 3-1. It will depend on how prepared we are, but it's gonna be a very different game from when we played Norwich than when we played Brentford. So I don't want you guys to be hugely and massively carried away. Do smash a like on the video. Thanks everybody for watching in the show. Even in Arsenal, it will be airing every 8 p.m. Make sure you do not forget, and always do tune in to the show. Right. Okay, now we have a couple of stories to discuss as well. Serge Aurier, Wilshere, and Arsene Wenger. Of course, I've talked about the coming back of Thomas Partey in the recent videos. So Partey is back in training. Gabriel is back. He played against Brentford, as well as Ben White. So that is a massive update for Arsenal. If you look, massive. It's a big update for us now. But we've got to speak about Serge Aurier now. Now, I've been looking at this story, and I did it earlier in the day, and I shared my thoughts. It's a complicated one, really complicated. But let's try to dive into it and maybe try to make some sense of what exactly do we mean that Arsenal is interested in Serge Aurier, or Aurier could join Arsenal. Now, Spurs have signed in Emerson Royal. We know that. They also have Matt Doherty at right back. I think, and Serge Aurier. They are the three players they have. Last summer they signed in Matt Doherty, and with an aim that he would take up the first option, the first place at right back, so that they could actually throw out Serge Aurier. Matt Doherty didn't work for them, and I think if you're rating signings in the last summer, Spurs are quite unlucky, but it is also true. It's also true. I mean, they had a bad. They had. They had a stinker. They had a stinker with Matt Doherty. Now Serge Aurier is out of the picture in pecking order. They have Emerson Royal, and now they also have Matt Doherty, who I think Matt Doherty will be a backup to Emerson Royal. This is where Arsenal come in. Spurs would like to end things with Serge Aurier, whether by terminating his contract or things like that, and it's going to be a free agent. Now, the reports are that he's been offered to Arsenal, and the player is keen to move to join Arsenal Football Club. Arsenal are also reportedly interested in taking him at the Emirates Stadium. That is one or two things that I do not understand, and where I would need to get in your opinions and thoughts. Because this is why I come live, to get your thoughts, especially in the comment section. And please make sure you do smash a like on the video and tell me what you think about this. All right. The first story that Arsenal are interested in Serge Aurier blows my ears. The next one, that the player would love to continue his career in the Premier League and therefore would be open to a move to Arsenal, also blows my ears. Would I take Serge Aurier at Arsenal? Now, the problem is that we have so many poor right backs. Cedric, not good enough. Chambers has already shown us that he's not good enough. Bellerin has left on loan as well. And Ainsley, who is not even sure whether he wants to be at Arsenal, or he's not even sure whether he will ever play good football regularly at the side. So, a player, that lacks self-confidence shouldn't be coming anywhere close to the side, right? So then the question now is, do we take Serge Aurier as our right back? He's coming from Spurs, and this is no question. Spurs are throwing him out. Definitely, Spurs are throwing him out. So it's I don't want anyone to come out here and try to convince. You know what, Cossy? I think Spurs this and that. Spurs are throwing him out. That's it. Not good enough. They're throwing him out as not good enough. And they brought in Emerson Royal, one player that we wanted to sign. They have also, of course, we signed Takehiro Tomiyasu. They were very close to signing him. I don't know what happened with the transfer, but they were very close to signing Tomiyasu as well. Now, Aurier is a Spurs reject. We have seen Arsenal sign rejects like Willian, and they have not worked out. The likes of Sylvester from Manchester United and Stefan Lichtsteiner. I don't want us to go back in the same situation. If you're doing a project young Arsenal like you think, then I think we should be going for the young players. And I think we already have a bunch of good for nothing players at right back. I don't think we should be adding another right back. If Arsenal still feel like they have enjoyed the summer and they want to bring in more players, do that in the midfield, because now Mohamed Elneny is injured. According to reports, he is injured. So we need someone, as a backup in the central midfield, because Xhaka is out for 3 games. If Mohamed Elneny is injured, Partey, are you gonna rush him back? If you rush Partey back, play him with Abu Sambi Lokonga, Partey gets injured, you're back at square one. And I don't understand why Arsenal didn't get in the midfielder. We'll speak about that when we speak about Jack Wilshere. So with Aurier, I will get into your thoughts, but I don't take Aurier or Arsenal. Yes, he has the experience, and I think he could be better than what we have, but he's driving us back to the same old Arsenal, recruit old players that are going to become a problem. When I think about Serge Aurier and I think about Sid Kolasinac, I just reject him. I just reject him. We could do better. We could do better. Let us stay with Takehiro Tomiyasu. If he's going to play in the back 3, let him play in the back 3. If you're going to play in the back 4, let him play in the back 4. Let us move with what we have. Chambers could be a good backup to Tomiyasu. So definitely not in the back 3. If you're going to play back 3, then Tomiyasu, Ben White, and Gabriel could be at the back 3. And then because he played the back 3 against Brentford, he played Murray at the heart of the defense. Gabriel, and Ben White. So if he wants to play back three, no need for Serge Aurier. Even if it's a back four, I wouldn't take Serge Aurier. Definitely, I wouldn't take him. But of course, if you take Serge Aurier, let me know in the comments below. I would love to get your thoughts on this one. Very, very, very frankly, I would love to get your thoughts on it, on this as well. Right. Apart from Serge Aurier, there is also talk around Jack Wilshere. Now, with Jack, it's not Arsenal linked with Jack Wilshere, but it's the fact that Arsenal lack a midfielder. We lack midfielders, and Jack Wilshere is currently unemployed. 29 years of age, has risen through Arsenal ranks. He knows every bit of Arsenal. Now, the problem with Jack is he's injury prone. He is very, very injury prone. I think if you think about Jack Wilshere, one of the things you gotta think about is his injury record. It's one thing that has been so detrimental to his career, to an extent that he's doing interviews, crying, looking at his career, a career that should have been better than that of Aaron Ramsey, a career that should have been better than, because for me, Mohamed El Neni has had a better career than Jack Wilshere. If Mohamed El Neni is still at Arsenal for 5 consecutive seasons, Jack Wilshere should be at Arsenal. I'm sorry to say. I mean, I love Jack, and everybody should know that. I really love Jack so much, and I think he's unlucky. He's unlucky to get into that position. Very, very unlucky to get into that position. 29 years of age. You're currently unemployed. You were one of the best young midfielders in the world, because for me Jack was not one of the best in the league, was one of the best in the in the world. We've talked about the likes of Martin Odegaard having a high ceiling. Jack was there. I think Jack Wilshere, Mario Götze, what a pity, because those are some of my best players. I think that have just gone to a waste like that. Mario Götze had a chance to play for Dortmund and Bayern and win a World Cup. He will have something to cling on to when he tells his kids in tears that my career, that was supposed to be a big one, just went down like that. What about Jack? What is he gonna tell the kid? Tell his kids? Injuries have been so bad, and I just feel bad for him. But away from feeling bad, Arsenal do have a midfield void. Let's be honest. We have a midfield vacancy. Thomas Partey, one of my favorite, is injury prone now. Now we know injury prone. We can't change that. Mohamed El Neni looks like he's injured, and Xhaka, we don't know how Xhaka is gonna fare out. Why don't we get the services of Jack Wilshere? Look, this seems so deluded for me. And I wouldn't take him on a 4-year contract or 5-year contract or 6-year contract. I wouldn't. I would take him on a 1-year contract with an option of extending with another year if he does well, if he can stay fit. Because for me, I think as the fans, better than anyone in the world, we know what Jack can offer in the world of football. We just know that he's been injured. Things have not worked out for him, but we know what Jack Wilshere means in the world of football. We know what he can offer as a footballer. Now, look, I will agree with you. If you disagree with me, then you know what, Cossy, don't bring Jack closer to the squad. Don't bring him back to Arsenal. He decided to leave, and he has already said he regrets leaving Arsenal. But for me, I think look, the problem is he can't stay fit. But maybe it could be that midfielder that we are looking for. Get Thomas Partey and play him with Jack Wilshere. And maybe he could be that midfielder. He's not played in a while. So if he comes in at Arsenal and starts from the bench, it just provides that kind of backup to Thomas Partey or to Granit Xhaka. It would work. But at the end of the day, I would take Jack Wilshere back on a 1 year, because we are in a crisis mode. I would. That midfield, at one point in time, that midfield is gonna be empty. And I still might ask myself, how the hell did Edu not foresee this? How did he not look at it? Because that midfield is gonna be empty at some point in time. It's gonna be empty. Just imagine if, because it's now a high possibility that Partey will pick up another injury. If Partey picks up another knock before the Norwich game, Elneny has picked up a knock, and Xhaka is suspended for 3 games. Who plays for us in the pivot? Are we going to play Abu-Sambil Konga as a one-man, in a one-man pivot, and then have 4 midfielders ahead of him? It's going to be a lot of work for the young lad. A lot of work. And I still think our transfer market was a stinker. They said, judge us at the end of the window. I think if we were to pass on judgment, you guys have done an absolute stinker. You've had an absolute stinker. But of course, we won't pass on judgment. We don't want to do that. It's bygones. Definitely. It's bygones. Now we have to focus on the new season. So that's it. I'll take Jack Wilshere back. Serge Aurier. I need your thoughts. I need your help on that. Do you take Serge Aurier back, or do we actually leave him out of the squad? Right. The last piece of story we will discuss in Evening Arsenal, on the Evening Arsenal show, is Arsene Wenger. Right, here we go. Now, Arsene had an interview, and of course, he spoke about his former club, Arsenal, and the mess they find themselves in. We are so sorry, sir. We put your team in such a mess. I think that's the right word we should be using. So Arsene Wenger has been speaking about the club, and this is what he said. Former Arsenal boss Arsene Wenger thinks the Gunners are in good shape despite the terrible start to a new Premier League season. The North London club have lost all 3 of their opening Premier League fixtures this season and have failed to score a single goal in the process. They did manage to hammer West Brom 6-0 in the Carabao Cup in between, but it has been all doom and gloom for Arsenal this season so far at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal spent a staggering 147 million on new signings this summer, with Nuno, Albert, Lokonga, Ben White, Odegaard, Ramsdale, and Takehiro Tomiyasu all joining the club. Right. So speaking to Build today, this is what Arsene Wenger said. Today the club is in good shape. Wenger told Build Live on Friday. They have had 2 tough games against Chelsea and Manchester City. The team has potential and I hope they can come back. When asked about the possibility of him returning to the Emirates to help with their current demise, Wenger added, I am 71. I've given this club the best years of my life. At the moment, I'm just a fan. Oh, you said it, bro. You said it, Arsene. You said it. He's just a fan. All right. Asked if it was valuable experience, Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta told the club's official website, "No, not really. I don't want to dive into that. I just want Arsene Wenger's interview." All right. So that's it. Says, I'm 71. I've given this club the best years of my life. At the moment, I am just a fan of Arsenal Football Club. What do you think? Would you take Arsene Wenger back at Arsenal to solve the mess? Yes, I would. I would definitely. But not as manager. Because I think, just like Arsene says, he's had the best years of his life, of his career. Obviously, he's enjoying some good money at FIFA there, but he's had the best years of his life as a manager, trying to support Arsenal Football Club, trying to back Arsenal Football Club. He was our manager. He's been our best manager. 3 Premier League titles, a couple of FA Cups. He tried to build the Arsenal. Or actually, he built the Arsenal we know. If you're an Arsenal fan out there, the Arsenal was built by Arsene Wenger. Especially if you're a fan, in the past 2 decades, the Arsenal we know has been built by Arsene Wenger. The player on my wall, Thierry Daniel Henry, is one of the greatest legends at the club, built and built and molded by Arsene Wenger. So looks like we owe him so much. But he says, at the moment, I'm just a fan. Look, Sir Alex Chapman Ferguson is still involved in the affairs of Manchester United Football Club as an influential figure. I still think, and it's not like I still think, I know Arsene Wenger should be having the same level of influence at this football club like Sir Alexander Chapman Ferguson. Definitely. We should be having, you should be looking into, because look, if you have decided to go for a young project with a young manager, Arsene Wenger should be having a hand in this, because he knows better than anyone how to recruit young players and who cannot manage these young talents. Obviously, with all due respect, I think having a young manager running a young project doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, because these players need the guidance, and the manager you have brought them is not capable of giving them the guidance. What exactly are we talking about here? So Arsene Wenger says we are strong, we are in a strong position, we can bounce back. Thank you so much, for the words, the good words, Arsene, but we want you back. We want you to come back and help in the running of things at Arsenal Football Club. I think it would make more sense. Definitely, it would make more sense. But there must be something that happened for Arsene Wenger to leave the Arsenal and decide he's never coming back. There must be something that happened, because the time he spent at Arsenal, it would be an absolute lie if he told us that he doesn't have any degree of emotional attachment to Arsenal. For me, it would be a lie. Now, saying that at the moment I'm just a fan, it's not true. Arsene Wenger, right from the time he picked up Arsenal, was it 1996, 1997? He will never be a fan. He will never be an Arsenal fan. He managed the club for 20 good years. Those are 2 decades. He can't come out and say, and now I'm simply a fan. He can't. There must have been something that really went brutally so wrong that Arsene cannot come back to help up, because we are in a crisis. And he knows that, and he looks at his, every day, he looks at his project, the project he built for 2 decades, and it is crumbling, and it's crumbling. And he says, at the moment, I'm just a fan. Look, I don't believe you, Arsene. I think deep down there is some pain. Actually, listen to this. Let me just take you to this. Love you guys to have your own eyes working. Arsene Wenger, not being able to go there, no longer going to the matches, no longer living my passion for the club was very, very hard, very brutal. Arsenal was a matter of life and death to me, and without it, there are some very lonely. There were some very lonely, very painful moments. After a comment like this, then you say, you know what, I'm just a fan. I don't think Arsene is just a fan. I think he's lying. I think deep down, as a manager, as an ex-manager of a great club like Arsenal Football Club, of a club that he knows is not supposed to be in 20th, of a club that he knows shouldn't be buying players like Willian, of a club that he knows shouldn't be buying players for 150 million and still be rock bottom, he hurts. There is some pain going on deep down in Arsene Wenger's, in Arsene Wenger's chest. He just can't say it. He just can't say it. So he says, not being able to go there, no longer going to matches. Why doesn't he come to Arsenal matches? If he believes we are in a good state, we are in a good position, You have the money to pay for the ticket. You could get a ticket for free if you wanted. Why don't you come to these Arsenal games? He definitely knows that he doesn't watch it. He doesn't want to be near it. It's stinking. It's stinking dead. Right? Says, no longer living my passion for the club was very hard, very brutal. Arsenal was a matter of life and death to me, and without it, there were some very lonely, very painful moments. That's what I've been speaking about. That's what we're speaking about. That at the end of the day, as Arsene Wenger, you have a very big stake in Arsenal Football Club. I mean, you're not just a manager. You're a manager that won the club their last Premier League title. That's it. You're the manager that last saw the club in Champions League. That's it. You're a manager that last saw the club play a Champions League final, 2006. That's it. And you are the manager that built the club it is today. Just coming out and saying, you know what, have nothing to do with Arsenal Football Club. It's over. I'm just a fan. It's a lie, but I know he's hurting deep down there. He knows that he should come back. And my question to you guys is, would you have Arsene Wenger back, maybe to try to correct the mess? Would you have Arsene Wenger back to try to correct the mess at Arsenal Football Club? Thanks everybody for watching in. Let's have some of your thoughts, please. This is Billy. Please do not spam my comments, please. Please do not. Don't try to spam my comments, Billy. Thank you so much appreciated. My friends, there is nothing much these boys will change in Arsenal. Good afternoon, Obed. Good evening, good evening, Arsenal. Good evening, Emmanuel. How are you doing? Hey, bro, thanks for your good work. I'm in Jamaica. How are you? London is red. Hope you're doing well. Mr. London is red. We should get Serge Aurier. This is according to Julius. Hey, Cossy. I'm Edward watching you, bro, but I don't think we need him because we signed Tomiyasu. Now, for me, the argument is not, all about do we need him because we signed or we didn't sign Tomiyasu. My argument, around the player is, would he be better than what we have? That's it. Would he be better than what we have? Definitely, I think, everyone say we signed Tomiyasu and things like that, but you could have a player who is better than what you have, despite the fact that you've just finished the window, and you could just add them to the site for purposes of integration. We should get that guy. He is really, really good. I don't think he's so good. I don't think he's so good. You just like I think you just like asking to have a new signing. Hi, Cossy. How are you doing, Ricky? Hope you're doing well. Hello, Cossy, from Nairobi, Kenya. How are you doing, Martin? Sergio is good. These are going to somewhere. All right. I think don't need someone like Serge. Thanks. Have a good morning or afternoon or evening, depending on where you are now. But it's night in UG. It's going to Nicholas. Serge is good for Arsenal. We need Wilshere back, Cossy. Look. I mean, my thoughts on Jack Wilshere do not change. I love him. I would give him a 1-year contract. Still, just a 1-year contract. And of course, try to watch him and see can he be any better. Serge is not someone Arsenal need. This is according to Nicholas. Samuel says we need to settle our mind and to focus on all of our games as the team. Your network is jamming. Really? Well, I didn't have a bed. I didn't know. I didn't know my network is bad. Sorry about that. I didn't know my network is poor. Aurier is better than what we've got. Can cross a ball. and a powerful runner. Ricky says, I have a problem with Serge Aurier signing. He's better than Chambers. Have no problem, sorry. He's better than Chambers and Cedric. Aurier is better than Cedric, Ainsley and Chambers. Let's sign Aurier. I think Arsenal needs a sharp striker and a sharp number 10. That's according to Nicholas. I pity our grown kids. Wilshere. Arsenal should step up in his career to make life better for him. Again, possible like 1 or 2. All right. Glenn says we can hear you though. So sorry. Look, I just didn't know my network is poor. All right. Okay. Please bring back Jack and let him and let's give him like a year contract. I know. Yeah. I mean, I'll definitely do that. I'll definitely do that. Aurier, yes. Wilshere, no. All right. We shall beat the people. Okay. Arsene Wenger left the club in a losing position, unlike Ferguson that left United as champions. That's why Arsene no longer interested in Arsenal, while Ferguson. Now you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. Your name is Aderinto. You're absolutely wrong. I think if you look at what Arsene Wenger did for Arsenal and the kind of backing and the kind of conditions he was working under, you have no right to say that. He left Arsenal in a losing position because we couldn't compete anymore. That's it. Football had run crazy with money, and it was time for Arsenal to invest, but we kept on selling our best players. We kept on selling the players that he groomed. So I think, with all due respect, you're not right. Hello Arsenal fan. This is Sharif. Thanks for the service, but I think we should get him as a backup. Right then, thanks everybody, guys, for watching in. It's been a wonderful show. Even in Arsenal will be airing on your YouTube, either your phone or laptop, every 8 p.m. and obviously Morning Arsenal will be airing on your screens at every 10 a.m. in the morning. Of course, I'll be getting I'll be doing some clip outs. So if you missed the morning show, I'll be doing some clip outs, and if you missed the evening show, I'll be doing some clip outs as well. Do not worry. I remain Cossy, and I'll speak to you tomorrow at 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. live.